So we just finished the Beauty and the Beast at the IRONMAN 70.3 Muskoka, and let me tell you, it was a scorcher of a day on race day. If you raced the IRONMAN 70.3 Muskoka, you would have experienced the brutal conditions of the race course, how hot and humid it was, even before the swim started. So first off, I want to say thank you to my sponsors, Swiftofo, who I've been working with for my custom tri-suit, along with Sumarpo, who is the official wetsuit sponsor for the IRONMAN 70.3 Muskoka. Check out my videos up here where I've reviewed some of their wetsuits, their eco-friendly wetsuits. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now, first off, I will say this is my fourth attempt at the IRONMAN 70.3 in Muskoka. Now, I was aiming for sub 5 hours for this as my fourth time. My very first time was about 6 hours, 20 minutes back in 2022. And in 2023, I finished with a time of 5 hours, 35 minutes. And last year, 2024, my third time, I finished with a time of 5 hours, 12 minutes. Now, I've been improving more and more every year, and I've been learning more about the conditions on the course and just more about my performance in the swim, bike, run, and even in transition. This year, I did sign up with Coach Mark Cullen from LP Endurance, specifically to get me set up for this race. And I really wanted that extra help to go that extra mile. So if you're looking for a coach, check him out. He's a wealth of knowledge in triathlon. He races himself. Now, in terms of the race day, I did get a decent amount of sleep, so I felt pretty ready for the race. I put on my wetsuit and went off to the swim. And honestly, it was so hot and humid. It was insane. I had not felt that in my past 3 years at Muskoka. The heat and humidity definitely played a role early in the beginning, even before the race started. Now, as the gun went off around 7 a.m. or so for the pros, kudos to them. They really crushed it. And, hopefully I can get anywhere near them one day in my career in triathlon. I waited in line to get into the swim, and I waited probably about 17 minutes. I did a very quick swim warm-up in the river, and that was a must-do because it was heating up, and those that were in full suits, they probably really were sweating out a lot of electrolytes and fluids. Finally got out on the swim, tried to catch some legs and stay in the draft while also maintaining a good sight line from buoy to buoy. And for the most part, the swim was pretty uneventful, other than the arms and legs, thrashing all over. The swim finished, and I was pretty gassed, but I actually finished, I think it was 1 second, so I got a 1 second PR. I was in a sleeveless wetsuit, the Sumarpo Vanguard, and I'm really glad that I wore that wetsuit because it really helped me with my stroke in terms of shoulder rotation or mobility, and it didn't tire out my forearms, which I tend to have a bit wider forearms, and wetsuits seem to fit me kind of funky, so the sleeveless definitely helped. Also, I probably was able to cool my body a bit more without the sleeve, so I think that was a benefit on my part. Now, I finished the swim, and honestly, I felt it. I was huffing and puffing after the swim, and I wasn't sure, I didn't go too hard on the swim, so it definitely was the heat. The lake probably was warmer as well, and I might have been better off going with a swim skin because of the heat, just to maintain a cooler core temperature and so that I didn't sweat out as much, but it is what it is. I ran through T1, and I actually shaved some time off on my T1 time as well. So my tip is to know where your bike is, practice running into your T1, grabbing your bike and out, and also into your T2 and racking your bike and running out. Try to mentally prepare yourself for that and visualize where your bike is, because that can definitely save you some time there. Now, I ripped off my wetsuit, grabbed my bike, and made it on my way to the bike. Spoiler alert, my bike was much slower than the last time. My bike time was about almost 6 minutes slower than last year, so I was really bummed out. Throughout the bike, I was trying to maintain about 200 watts. Last year, I hit about 177. This year, I was very close, about 194 watts and 202 normalized power for the 90-kilometer bike ride. Now, I don't know what happened. Well, actually, I do know what happened. I swapped to a 32 tooth cassette, and I had a brand new bike I didn't have a disc wheel, so all of those things combined just slowed me down. In terms of my climbing, I tried to maintain power and not spike too much. But with the 32 tooth cassette, I really was losing speed on the uphills, and I will say though, the bike was pretty cushy, pretty comfy, and overall a solid ride. It must have been upwards of 32 degrees Celsius, and it probably was a feels like 35 to 37 Celsius. So really, really hot day. I know that there were a lot of people who didn't finish because it was just like brutal conditions out there from the heat. So T2, I did shave some time once again. So that's a plus. I'll take all the little wins I can. But oh boy, as soon as I got onto the run, in my mind, I knew that I was gonna cramp, because going down that downhill, slight downhill, and then left onto Veterans Way, I did post on Instagram, there's something mysterious about Veterans Way. I'm pretty sure that the veterans, the ghosts, are there to kind of remind us of the pain and suffering they went through, because every single time that I run this course, I just cramp, and like brutal leg locking quad cramps where they feel rock hard like boulders, and I can't move, and it was really rough. I definitely lost time there. I want to say upwards of 4 to 5 minutes. I do think that this year maybe I did underhydrate in terms of fluids, so I did take more than 1500 milligrams of sodium per liter, so that was something that I did, and I did take about 90 to 100 grams of carbs for the bike per hour. So I definitely had energy, I just cramped, and whether it's the heat, humidity, exhaustion, or underhydrating from the fluid standpoint, but it is what it is, learning lesson. The run was pretty uneventful other than reaching every aid station and dousing myself with water and shoving ice down my race suit, and even pushing the ice to my legs because I felt like that would help. Came into the finish line, you know, just lots of emotions. I felt like I let myself down in a way, especially after crossing the finish line. If you might have seen me sitting on the sidelines after the finish line, I did shed some tears, and it was pretty rough for me. Just knowing how much training that went into it and just letting myself down in that perspective. You know, knowing that, you know, the race course is a beast, and knowing that it's a lot of things are out of my control, but I just, you know, I still felt a bit bummed out that I didn't hit the targets that I wanted to. That's what a race is like, and races get me fired up. Triathlon gets me fired up, and it gets me emotional, but that's how passionate I am about it. There are more races to come, so I do know that. The run, I finished in 1 hour 57, not what I was looking for, but I did finish in the end, and I finished with a time of 5 hours 20 minutes, which got me a 25th place in my age category, 35 to 39, very competitive age category, and I ended up being overall 138 and 120th in the men's category. So not bad in any means. It's definitely, you know, it was a very tough race, so kudos to everyone that finished, kudos to everyone that really gave it their all and trained and showed up on the day. Thank you to all the supporters for just being out there in the heat. You guys were our lifesavers. Honestly, without you guys, we probably would have died in the heat. And as well, thank you to Shannon and Shannon's family for being out there to support me and cheer me on. Especially big thank you to Shannon for allowing me to race this one last race before we have our baby. Maybe next time I race, Shannon and the baby will also be cheering me on, which will be pretty awesome. Triathlon training will be pretty much put on pause. I mean, I'm still cycling to work and running and also doing some weights here and there. So I'm still going to try to maintain a sense of fitness over the course of being a new dad, but we'll see how that goes. I'm sure my content will change over time as well. And for those out there that raced, thank you so much for reaching out. It's always nice to meet some of my supporters, and I'm glad to see that my videos have been helping you out. So kudos to you on your race day, and also for conquering the beauty and the beast. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, comment below if this was your first race, or if you were at the race as well. How brutal were the conditions out there? Like, wow, hot and humid and just hills galore. Until next time, keep training and have a good one.